Hello, my friend. Today, I want to tell you a story. A story about a boy who had nothing. A boy born in poverty. A boy who lost his twin brother at birth. A boy who many people said would never succeed. But this boy had something special inside him. A dream. A voice. And the courage to be different. His name was Elvis Presley. And he became the king of rock and roll. Before we begin, I want you to think about something. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough? Have you ever felt like your dreams are too big for someone like you? If you answered yes, then this story is for you. Because Elvis proved something powerful. He proved that your beginning doesn't determine your ending. He proved that poverty is not a prison. He proved that being different is not a weakness. It's a strength. Today, we're going to walk through Elvis's life. From his birth in a small town to his death as the biggest star in the world. We'll learn how he struggled, how he conquered, and how he changed music forever. So sit down, relax, and listen carefully. This is not just a story about a famous singer. This is a story about never giving up on your dreams. No matter where you start. Let's begin. On January 8, 1935, something happened in East Tupelo, Mississippi. A small town in the United States. A woman named Gladys Presley was giving birth. But it was a difficult birth. She was having twins. 2 boys. But something tragic happened. One of the twins did not survive. He died at birth. Only one boy lived. His name was Elvis Aaron Presley. Elvis came into this world as a survivor. From his very first breath, he was fighting. His father, Vernon Presley, and his mother, Gladys, were heartbroken. They had lost one son. But they held on to the other with all their love. Elvis grew up knowing he had a brother who never got to live. Elvis's family was very poor. They had almost nothing. They lived in a small house. Sometimes they didn't have enough food. Vernon worked hard, but money was always a problem. Life was difficult. But Gladys loved her son deeply. She protected him. She encouraged him. She told him he was special. Even when the world said he was just another poor boy. On September 12, 1948, everything changed. The Presley family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. They were looking for a better life. Memphis was bigger than their small town. There were more opportunities. Elvis was 13 years old. This move would change his life forever. In Memphis, Elvis discovered something that would shape his future. Music. He participated in the choir at the local evangelical church. Every Sunday, he sang gospel songs. The power of those songs moved him deeply. The emotion. The soul. He also heard something else in Memphis. Blues music. The blues was the music of Black Americans. It was full of pain and hope. Elvis loved it. He let it into his heart. He learned to play the guitar. Not in a fancy school. He learned by himself. By listening. By practicing. By feeling the music. He started participating in music contests in his city. Sometimes he won. Sometimes he lost. But he never stopped trying. Because his family was poor, Elvis had to work. He worked as a cinema usher. Standing in the dark theater, showing people to their seats. He also worked as a truck driver. Driving long hours on hot roads. Hard work. But Elvis never complained. He knew this was temporary. He had a bigger dream. In 1953, Elvis finished high school. He was 18 years old. Most people thought he would become a truck driver forever. But Elvis had other plans. In 1954, something special happened. Elvis met a man named Sam Phillips. Sam Phillips was a music producer. He worked with rhythm and blues music. And he was looking for something specific. He was looking for a white singer who could sing authentic blues. Why? Because at that time, America was divided by race. In 1954, Elvis recorded his first record. A small record with 2 songs. That's All Right and Blue Moon of Kentucky. These songs were different. They mixed blues, country, and gospel. They had energy. They had soul. They had something new. Something the world had never heard before. When people heard these songs, they were shocked. Some loved it immediately. Some hated it. Some said, "What is this? This is not real music." But young people? Young people went crazy for it. They had never heard anything like this before. Elvis started performing live. And something incredible happened. When he sang, he moved. He didn't stand still like other singers. He moved his hips. He shook his legs. He moved his whole body with the rhythm. The audiences went wild. Girls screamed. They cried. They fainted. It was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. On October 2nd, 1954, Elvis made his first performance outside his state. He went to Atlanta, Georgia. More people heard him. More people fell in love with his music. In 1955, something big happened. Elvis was hired by RCA Victor, a major record company. This was huge. He recorded new songs. Mystery Train and Baby Let's Play House. These songs quickly climbed to the top of the charts. Elvis was becoming famous. His performances on radio and television fascinated the public. People couldn't get enough of him. In 1956, Elvis reached a new level. He appeared on the Dorsey Brothers television show. Millions of people watched. And then he released an album called Heartbreak Hotel. This album did something extraordinary. In just 1 year, it sold 9 million copies. This was unbelievable. Elvis Presley was no longer just a singer. He was becoming a phenomenon. Elvis began performing internationally. He enchanted audiences everywhere he went. But he also scandalized them. Why? Because of the way he dressed. Extravagant clothes. Colorful outfits. Shiny jackets. And because of the way he moved. That exaggerated hip movement. That rebellious energy. Some people loved it. Some people were shocked. Churches criticized him. Parents worried about their daughters. Conservative people said he was corrupting the youth. But young people? They made him their hero. He was different. He was rebellious. He was free. And they wanted to be like him. Because of his hip movements, people gave Elvis a nickname. They called him Elvis the Pelvis. Elvis Presley, at just 21 years old, had become the king of rock and roll. In 1958, at the height of his fame, something happened. Elvis received a letter. A letter from the United States Army. He was being drafted. He had to serve in the military. This was required for all young American men at that time. Many people thought this would end his career. 2 years away from music? 2 years away from the spotlight? People would forget him. New singers would take his place. But Elvis did something surprising. He accepted it without complaint. He didn't ask for special treatment. He didn't try to avoid it. He served like any other soldier. This made people respect him even more. But something terrible happened during this time. On August 14, 1958, Elvis received devastating news. His mother, Gladys, had died. She was only 46 years old. Elvis was heartbroken. Completely destroyed. His mother was his everything. She was his biggest supporter. She was the one who always believed in him. She was the one who told him he was special when he was just a poor boy. And now she was gone. Elvis cried for days. Some people say he never fully recovered from this loss. He loved his mother more than anything in the world. In October 1958, Elvis was transferred. He went to a United States military base in Germany. He stayed there until March 1960. But something good happened in Germany. Elvis met a young girl named Priscilla Beaulieu. She was only 14 years old. He was 24. They began a relationship that would last for years. In March 1960, Elvis returned home. Everyone wondered, would people still love him? Would his career survive? The answer came quickly. Yes. People still loved him. Maybe even more than before. He appeared on the Frank Sinatra Show, a major television program. The show was a huge success. Elvis was back. And he was bigger than ever. After returning from the army, Elvis did something new. He started making movies. Lots of movies. Between 1960 and 1969, Elvis made 27 films. Some of these films were good. Some were not so good. But people watched them all. Why? Because they wanted to see Elvis. Some of his famous films include Love Me Tender, 1956. Fun in Acapulco, 1963. Viva Las Vegas, 1964. In these movies, Elvis sang, danced, and acted. He wasn't the greatest actor. But he had charisma. He had that special something that made people watch. On May 1, 1967, something important happened. Elvis married Priscilla, the girl he met in Germany years before. They got married in Las Vegas. A quick, private ceremony. For a while, Elvis seemed happy. He had fame. He had money. He had a beautiful wife. On February 1, 1968, their daughter was born. Her name was Lisa Marie Presley. Elvis loved being a father. He spoiled his daughter. He gave her everything. But his marriage with Priscilla was not easy. Elvis was always working. Always traveling. During the late 1960s, something happened. Elvis's popularity started to decline a little. The Beatles had arrived from England. New music was everywhere. Rock and roll was changing. Some people wondered, is Elvis's time over? But Elvis proved them wrong. In 1968, he did a special television performance. It was called the '68 Comeback Special. Elvis performed live, with energy and passion. He showed the world he was still the king. The show was a massive success. Elvis was back on top. During the 1970s, Elvis did something new. He started performing in Las Vegas. Long seasons. Show after show after show. These performances were spectacular. Elvis wore elaborate costumes. White jumpsuits with jewels and decorations. High collars. Capes. He looked like a king. And he performed like one. He recorded new music. Songs like Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto became huge hits. They topped the charts. His performances caused hysterical reactions in teenage audiences. Girls still screamed. Still cried. Still fainted. Even after all these years. Elvis still had that magic. But not everything was perfect. Elvis's marriage was falling apart. He and Priscilla separated several times. They tried to make it work. But it was too difficult. Finally, in January 1973, they separated permanently. They divorced. Elvis was heartbroken. He had lost his mother. And now he had lost his wife. After the divorce, Elvis started having serious problems. His health began to decline. He started gaining weight. He became addicted to prescription medicines. Pills for sleeping. Pills for pain. So many pills. These medicines were destroying his body. His friends and family were worried. But Elvis couldn't stop. Or wouldn't stop. He started avoiding public appearances. He was embarrassed about his weight. He was tired all the time. The man who once moved his hips with energy and passion now moved slowly, painfully. But Elvis continued to perform. He needed to feel like the king again. On June 21, 1977, Elvis performed his last concert. It was in Indianapolis, Indiana. He looked tired. He looked sick. But he still sang. He still gave everything he had. Because that's what Elvis did. On August 16, 1977, something terrible happened. Elvis Presley died. He was found in his home, Graceland, in Memphis. He died of a heart attack. He was only 42 years old. Too young. The world was shocked. Millions of people cried. Radio stations played his music non-stop. Television showed his performances over and over. People couldn't believe it. The king was gone. After his death, something incredible happened. In just 5 days, 8 million copies of his records sold out. 8 million in 5 days. People wanted to remember him. Graceland, his beautiful mansion in Memphis, became something special. A place of pilgrimage. Every year, thousands of fans visit. They come from all over the world to see where Elvis lived, to remember the king, to feel close to him one more time. Elvis Presley started with nothing. A poor boy from a small town. But he became a legend. He became the king of rock and roll. Not because life was easy, but because he refused to give up. He refused to stay small. He refused to let poverty define him. Today, I want you to ask yourself something. What dream are you not chasing because you think you're not good enough? What goal are you avoiding because you're afraid of what people will say? What talent are you hiding because you're scared to be different? Elvis didn't let fear stop him. And you shouldn't either. You have something special inside you. Something unique. Something the world needs. But the world will never see it if you don't have the courage to show it. So be brave. Be different. Work hard. And never, ever give up on your dreams. Thank you for listening today. If this story inspired you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel for more stories like this. Stories that teach you English while inspiring you to live better. Remember, you're learning more than just a language. You're learning lessons for life. See you in the next video.